And we will get this party started. Let me get back to my big view, full screen. All right, cool. So what do we got? We got 8 people. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking we were going to get between 8 and 10. That's fine with me. Because I know some people, a couple of people already told me that they weren't going to be able to make it. That's okay. So we are back here again. Hopefully you guys are working on your outside tan. I know I've already started to get my lines, which is good. Let us know. We're all outside. And of course, having on your sunscreen, most important. So last weekend, my nephew, who many of you have heard me talk about, he's graduated from college now. He's waiting for a job, which he hopefully will get started in September. He's going to be getting into pharmaceutical sales. So that'll be an interesting field for him to be in. They basically make, I think, different body part, like hip replacement, knee replacement, those kind of products. So he's waiting on that. So last weekend, he decided to come and visit us. And his main objective for coming to visit us was to get a bike from his Uncle Randy. So you've heard me talk about how he rode with us many, many times when he was a youngster. He then got into high school, started playing football, got into college, started playing football. Literally for 10 years, he didn't ride a bike. So he came up, we got him all set up, and we made him ride his bike over the weekend. So he came out a Sunday with, like, I said to him Sunday morning, do you want some sunscreen? No, that's okay, that's okay. And of course, he was like a lobster when we were done. His face was burnt, his arms were burnt. I even noticed when he was like getting dressed on Monday morning, I was like, holy mackerel, you definitely got your bike tan started. I mean, he was just like super line, arms were burnt. He's pretty fair, so he's kind of sandy brown, blonde hair-ish, so I gotta keep reminding him. Start using your sunscreen, man. Don't want any skin cancer happening. So, reminder to yourselves. Use that sunscreen when you can. Lather it on. I find with myself, if I'm going on a ride, I actually put the sunscreen on right when I'm getting dressed. Let it soak in before I really get there. So I'm not putting it in right before I start riding. I put it on way before, probably at least an hour. And that allows it to sink in. And that seems to work for me. So find one. It always cracks up Randy and me when we're like on a bike tour and we see these people with like white faces because they use that sunscreen that doesn't rub in, and they're like walking around, riding around looking like they're a porcelain doll or something. So get the sunscreen that doesn't do that unless you really need that. The zinc oxide aspect of it, which does help, especially on the noses. Here's another little tip. If you're doing a week-long trip or something where you're going to be outside on a continuous basis, like when we do our bike tours, we're literally outside for, 5-6 hours plus a day. I always find that my lips can really get fried. So having that chapstick, lip balm, whatever you want to use to cover up your lips is a really good idea. We went on a tour in Colorado once. I didn't do that. I didn't make sure I had proper lip balm on, and by like the third day, my lips were actually had gotten swollen and just really bad. So pay attention to those areas that need that special attention when you're out in the sun like that. All right, so tonight, I called this Build It, because we're going to build some efforts. We're going to do 2 7-minute efforts, followed by 2 4-minute efforts. All of them are going to look relatively the same in the type of effort that you're going to do, but the time frame is obviously going to change slightly. So the really cool thing that I've heard from a lot of people that did the trainer sessions through the first couple of months of the pandemic was they got outside and they felt really strong. That happened to me too. So great that we had all that time together. Something to consider for the future. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start off. I know you're already there. I want you in your smallest ring in the front, in your easiest gear in the back. We're literally going to walk down the cassette, 1 minute in each gear. The constant, keep that cadence at 90, if you can hold it there. So let's get started. 3, 2, 1. Hold it at 90 right now. Just getting things started. I think some of you came on a little earlier. That's a good thing. Get the legs warmed up before we even start. We're going to just walk down these gears. So I want you to kind of pay attention as we're doing this, how your cadence, how much you have to work in each of these gears, because you might be using these same gears for these build efforts that we're doing. So I had one of the people who were coming to the session say to me, you know, it was for the first time ever, she went out and said, I wasn't just winging it when it came to shifting. I was now actually knowing how to shift. That was really cool to hear. Shifting down 1 harder gear, holding that cadence at 90. That's what these sessions are all about. You can take what you've learned here and apply it outside. That's a great thing to know, that she literally felt that she gained so much confidence in knowing her gearing that it didn't become a factor anymore. No more winging it. So that's good. Remember, we want to try to have our water bottles finished by the end of the night. We're going to keep moving down this cassette. 3, 2, 1. 1 harder gear. Holding on to that 90. Think about all those body positions. Relax those shoulders. Bend those elbows. Feel yourself core being nice and tight. Sitting up from your hips. Not so much sitting up just like this, but actually feeling yourself sit up and stay in that sit up from the hips as you lower your hands to the bars. Positioning makes such a huge difference. I even find myself at times slouching or not using my core, and I hear my own self in my head. 3, 2, shifting down another gear. 3 minutes in. Can you still hold 90? Depending on what small ring you have, you might be able to, or you might be struggling to hold it Nobody should be bouncing in this gear. If you are, pull that belly button in, flatten those feet. We have one more shift. In 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. One harder gear. Last shift. Still holding that 90. I'm right at 92. If anybody's following my footsteps. Everybody's spinning nicely. Your heart rate, if you have it, might be hitting up to zone 4. That's okay. 3, 2, 1. Shift all the way back up. Nice and easy. 2 minutes easy. Take a drink. So how many of you consumed the proper amount of water so far today? Uh-oh. Some hitting out. Couple of thumbs down, couple of thumbs up. Yep. So when you know you're going to do a workout like this, where you're going to potentially sweat a lot, and you're inside, this is a day when you really want to come into this extra hydrated. I know for me, I really paid attention to it today. I'm normally pretty good. Some days I fall off if I get really involved in my work, and that tends to happen to a lot of us. We get so engrossed we forget. Yep, I see Jen with her hand up. It's true. You almost have to. I have a Timex watch that has 3 alarms on it. If you have a watch like that, it's worth it to actually put an alarm that's every 30 minutes that just reminds you, oh, did you drink? You know when you hear that beep, are you drinking? All right, so here's how this is going to go tonight. We're going to do 2 7-minute efforts, followed by 2 4-minute efforts. The 2 7 look exactly the same, but the gearing is just going to change. So the first one, you're going to do 2 minutes. In this first set of 7 minutes, all this is going to be in your big ring. So the first one, 2 minutes at 75 to 85 cadence. 2 minutes at 85 to 95. Then 2 minutes at 95 plus. Then 30 seconds at a little harder gear and a 30-second sprint out of the saddle, 1 gear harder, just to give you that resistance. Then you're going to get a good long 3-minute rest, which will be nice. So what I want you to think about when you start these, that first 2 minutes, find that big ring, whatever gear works for you, just keep that cadence between 75 and 85. All right, so go ahead, shift to your big ring. Find that gear that you think is going to keep you between 75 and 85. 3, 2, 1. 7 total minutes. Dial right in it to it. No higher than 85. I'm dead on to 80. I want to be right in the middle. because I know where this is going to go. So work with the gear. Get to know what gear holds this kind of cadence. You'll start to feel your heart rate coming up. That's fine. It'll really start to climb when we increase that cadence. You might find yourself kind of in the middle of zone 3, hitting near the top of zone 3. That's okay, because by the end, you're going to hit zone 4 plus. And if you notice, we're doing the big gears now. Next set will be small ring. You're nice and fresh. We want to use the strength you have now. When I count it down, you're going to shift probably to an easier gear, because your next set of cadence is 85 to 95. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Bring up the cadence. I'm going to go right to 90. So I'm right in the middle. 2 minutes here. Keeping that upper body nice and still. Only the legs are working. It's getting darker outside. I like that. I want it to be downpour by the time we're done. Stay consistent with your effort here. Feel yourself get tall in your body if you need it. 1 more minute here, 1 more minute. Feeling strong. Don't hesitate to take a drink. 7 minutes is a long time. Almost there. When I count it down, easier gear. Cadence moves to 95, 95 to 105. 3, 2, 1. Bringing it up. You're holding 100. That's a good thing. Love the concentration. Again, 2 full minutes here. Let yourself just breathe naturally. You open your mouth just slightly. That's enough. One minute to go. After this minute, you're going to shift to 1 or 2 harder gears. Give me 30 seconds hard. Then after that 30 seconds, One harder gear, 30 seconds out of the saddle. So you only have 1:30 left in this set. Looking good. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, give me one harder gear. 30 seconds hard. Make it a build up to that last 30 seconds. Cadence might come down a little bit, that's okay. Ten more seconds. Then you're going to shift down 1 or 2 gears out of the saddle. 3, 2, shifting out of the saddle. 30 seconds. Feel your ankles, hips right over your ankles. 10. Get tall. 3, 2, 1. Nice and easy. Woo! Good job. First set done. 3 minutes easy. Towel off. Take a drink. So as you recover, let this part be nice and easy. You don't have to make this hard. Just make it easy. Spin the legs down at 80 even. Enough to let some of that lactic acid just flush out. All right, so here's how the next one's going to go. Just a little slightly different. The first set, you're going to hold that 75-85 cadence, but you're going to be in your small ring, not the big ring. And you're going to hold that for 3 minutes. So a little longer for that first effort. Then you're going to go to 2 minutes, picking the cadence up to 85-95. Then 1 minute, that higher cadence. Then again, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. So we're building a little bit more of the endurance side on this 3 minute effort. And I want you to really concentrate on your heart rate on that one. I don't want you at the top of your zone 3. I want you either near the bottom or in the middle. So if you set up your watch for zones, you can then have it look and read as high as 3.5. No higher than that. So it was kind of funny when Marlon was here. He was using his own Garmin, but he was using my heart rate strap. So wherever he was, I was getting heart rate data. So it was kind of cool that I could see how much of an effort he was putting out. And of course, his Uncle Randy had no mercy on the 22-year-old. I'm sure he was telling all of his friends and classmates and people in his fitness classes, yeah, this old 60-plus guy just crushed a 22-year-old. All right, so find that gear. Stay in the small ring. 75 to 85 cadence. We're holding this for 3 minutes. Put it in a gear that's going to keep you near the bottom to the middle of your zone 3. So that's going to be a little dialing in. It's a low cadence. You can hold it at 80. That's probably a good cadence to go for. 75 is a little low. No higher. No higher than 85. 3 minutes here. I'm right at 80, 82. You have to dial it in this first minute. That's okay. Just keep it steady. So I'll know if I'm in the right zone, if I can tell stories in this 3 minutes. So that's a good indicator, as we all know. If I'm not having to be breathy, then I'm in good shape. So Saturday was the first day of riding with Marlon. And we decided from our house, we'll ride up to Piermont, take him out on the pier, show him the Hudson, come home, and then see how many miles we get. Maybe 40. I was thinking maybe he could do 50. So we get to the pier. We were pushing it a bit at the beginning. He was hanging in good. Probably took him the first hour to kind of find himself on the bike again. A little twitchy at the beginning, but he got pretty confident pretty quickly. Because remember, the last time he actually rode a bike was when he was 12. So you're definitely a kid at 12, and now he's a 6 foot, 185 pound man, which is a lot different. 2 minutes down. 1 more minute here. So of course, on the way home, Uncle Randy decides we got to climb. We got to see what kind of climbing legs he's got. So I never thought I would hear Marlon go, oh, but he did that about 5 times in the second half of the ride because his legs were starting to die. And as I said to him, he reverted back to Marlon miles, which is what we used to call them when he was 10 and we were going like 11 miles an hour. In 5 seconds, you're going to shift to an easier gear, increase that cadence. 3, 2, 1 to 85, 95. 2 minutes here. Heart rate, as you know, it's going to go up a little. If you're touching the top of zone 3 into zone 4, that's okay. But try to keep it only to the top of zone 3. So we get to the final climb, which is actually a 3-part climb. It's a climb, a nice descent, another climb to a right-hand turn that just keeps climbing. Well, by the time you got to the top, he was completely dead. The bummer part is that downhill after the first climb, you got to climb back up it to get back to the house. So by the time we got home, he was totally spent. But he bounced back because we rode some gravel on Sunday, which was fun. He rode a mountain bike. Everybody else was on a gravel bike. So, of course, he had to work a little harder on a mountain bike. When I counted down, another easier gear, holding it 95, 100 cadence. 3, 2, 1. And again, the heart rate may jack up if you're in the right gear because of the cadence. I'm at 103. 1 minute here. This is where you might find yourself getting a little bounce. If you're in the right gear, shouldn't be too much. In 10 seconds, you're going to shift to 1 or 2 harder gears. Give me 30 seconds hard. 3, 2, 1. Come on. Pick it up. Hold on to that 30 seconds. Then when I count it down, shift to 1 or 2 harder gears. Out of the saddle for 30 seconds. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. If you need 3 gears, go for it. Get your head up. Nice leg speed. Feel yourself tall from your hips. Not a lot of pressure in your hands. Three, 2, 1. Nice and easy. Woo! Good job. 3 minutes easy. Take a drink. Towel off. Definitely going to have a wet towel after this one. If you feel your bars getting really sweaty, just towel them off. I know some people like to wear their gloves on the trainer for that purpose. And actually, that was the one of the lessons that Marlon learned over the weekend. So it was pretty hot on Saturday. And I said to him, do you want some gloves? Because we were riding road. Of course, he was like, nah, I don't need any gloves. I'm like, okay, you do what you want. I'm just going to ask you. So we get like 25 miles in. He's sweating like a dog. I said, so are your hands slipping off of your handlebars? Yeah. That's why you wear gloves. So, of course, he wore gloves on Sunday. So it's just about learning a few things. He got it down. Sunday was different for him. He actually was able to use, I don't know if I've told you guys, we have compression boots. So those are always a great way to recover. Gives the body some compression, gets the blood flowing, starts to get the recovery process working a little faster. So that was a good way to get him to feel like he had some legs left on Sunday. But he needed that day off on Monday, that's for sure. All right, so our next set, a little shorter, looks very similar. We're going to do both of these sets in your small ring. So it's going to be only 4 minutes long. The first one, 2 minutes at 75, 85. 1 minute at 85, 95. 30 seconds hard, 30 seconds out of the saddle. Small ring for all of those. Then we're going to do that again. So you might want to use the same gear you used for the previous one. Find that gear, small ring, 75 to 85. Staying in the little bit of bottom, more like middle to top of the zone. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. So it's a shorter effort. You can make it last a little longer. 75 to 85. Might take you a little while to dial it in terms of the gearing. No higher than 85. I'm right at 83, if you're following me. 2 minutes here. Keep it steady. These good sustained efforts are so beneficial. This is the stuff that helped you come out of being inside all those months to feeling stronger when you got outside. Shorter effort with a little more intensity. Hold that cadence. "30 more seconds here. Then when I count it down, you're going to increase the cadence, 85, 95 for 1 minute. Try to only shift one gear easier. 3, 2, 1. Bring up the cadence. Bring up the effort. Now into zone 4. Stay with it. Feel that upward part of the stroke. Feet are nice and light. "30 more seconds here. When I count it down, shift to one harder gear. 30 seconds hard. 3, 2, 1. Stay seated. See if you can hold the same cadence. When I count it down, 1 or 2 harder gears. 30 seconds out of the saddle. 3, 2, 1. Come on. Go get it. Go get it. 15. 3, 2, 1. Nice, easy gear. Good job. 3 minutes easy. Take a drink. Towel off. It's nice we have sufficient rest in between these. That's what you need. And make sure that you're holding those efforts. So, now that you did that 4-minute effort, hopefully you paid attention to a few factors. Gearing, where were you on your heart rate? What was the effort level like? We want to try to match that again. So you want to go to the same gear for that first 2 minutes. Nobody's hitting their gears yet. You still have 2 more minutes. Kind of spin the legs out. 2, 1, 30, 30. That's how this last 4-minute effort's going to go. So play on that same gearing, same cadence you had last time. So for me, and let's see, Lillian, she's got power. With power, you can obviously see an instantaneous response. So as soon as I put my feet down, I get a power reading. Heart rate, as you've heard me say millions of times before, is a delayed reaction. So as much as heart rate's a good training mechanism, power is the ultimate, for sure. All right, Earl, I know that means you're going to go out and buy a power meter tomorrow. Sleep on it, man. Sleep on it. That's what my mom said. He's got 2 things to sleep on now. All right, in 30 seconds, think about what gear you were in last time for that 2-minute effort. Try to go to that same gear, or if you want to really challenge yourself, go to one harder gear and try to hold that same cadence range. This is where you need to push yourself a little bit here at the end of the workout. You know the motto, this is when it counts. I'll tell you a little story as we go about that. So find that gear, 75 to 85 cadence, 3, 2, 1, 2 minutes. So I have a fixed gear bike, which means, for those of you that don't know, it means that I can't coast, I can't stop pedaling. It's a bike like they would use on a track, like in the Olympics. So typically, you ride a fixie, and you have some limitations sometimes. You can only spin your legs so fast. And of course, when you come to climbs, you got to really work on your climbing. And that's why I love to ride it. So you don't have to think about anything but pedaling. So I'm on the fixie. I'm riding down this gradual descent. And I see this guy in front of me. Nice bike. Nice kit. Looks like a guy that knows what he's doing. Little on the master's side. So I pass him. I go, hey, how's it going? Got nothing. So I thought, okay, maybe he had his headphones on, didn't hear me, who knows. So I keep riding. At the bottom, right before a stop sign, there's a little rise in the road. So I always stand up, try to push it to the top of that. I'm almost to the top, and all of a sudden I feel somebody to my left. He passes me, he looks over at me and he goes, this is when it counts, and he keeps on riding. Shifting up, 1 easier gear, or 2, increasing that cadence to 85, 95. So obviously, he jumped on my wheel. I was looking at my backside for the whole time. And then we went our separate ways. It was kind of fun. After this minute, remember, you're going to do 30 seconds hard, 30 seconds out of the saddle. Here we go. One harder gear, 30 seconds hard. You're building it here. Building to the sprint. Keep your legs moving. As high of a cadence as you can hold. Shifting down, 1 or 2 harder gears. Out of the saddle. Come on. Go for it. Make sure you're pedaling evenly. Three, 2, 1. Woo! Sit down. Nice and easy. Take a drink. Towel off. Almost done. We're going to flush out a little bit of that lactic acid. Give yourself that recovery. Bring the leg speed down. Nice, super easy gear. We're going to finish up with a couple of fast legs. Just bring those legs back to life. This wasn't too heavy of a gear the whole night, so it wasn't like a climbing effort, but it was enough. Because remember, we haven't been on the trainer for a little while now. Being stationary like this, you don't get to coast like you do outside. So it's very different riding inside and riding out. And sometimes you get a nice tailwind or a headwind, which doesn't make it any easier. All right, you're going to stay in the gear you're in. Look at whatever cadence you're currently spinning at. And I want you to bring that cadence up 5 RPMs, but as you know, don't be pedaling. Just let the legs spin. Find a lightness in your legs. Bring up the cadence. Make them work without working, if that makes any sense. We just want them to spin along and get some recovery as we come down to the end of the workout. Let's keep it here. Make sure you see what cadence you're at right now, because you're going to use that in 10 seconds. I want you to shift to 1 harder gear. Hold that same cadence with the same kind of effort. 1 harder gear. Feel that lightness. Just let the legs spin around. Feel yourself finding that bend in your elbows and those shoulders being nice and relaxed. Nobody's got them up at their ears. Feel yourself kind of wiggling yourself in the saddle so you find that perfect position. Of course, that was the other thing that was killing Marlon. After 10 years of not sitting in a saddle, and then all of a sudden you do 50 miles, a little rough on the butt. But as he said, oh, I just got to callus this up. Yep, exactly. Back up to that other gear, that easier gear. 1 more minute. Spinning it super light. This was good, guys. It's actually good to be kind of back on the trainer. It's nice that you get a really concentrated workout when you get back on the trainer like this. That's why some like pro athletes at times, they'll do some workouts on a trainer just so that they can do that. Concentrate on a certain effort or stay within a certain range. All right, I'm going to have you guys continue to pedal. I'm going to get off. I'm going to open up the phone lines. And what I'm going to do, since we have a small group for this last couple of minutes, I'm going to have you guys tell us a little 5 minutes worth of what you've been doing. So let's see if I can unmute.